Welcome to All Things Social Security. Enjoy your video. Morning, happy Sunday. It's the Sunday after Christmas 2025. I hope you all had a wonderful Christmas, and I hope you're having a great weekend. I hope it's been peaceful and everything else you could want. So this is just a quick Social Security Sunday roundup for the last week up until yesterday, Saturday. So it starts with the 22nd. And I will say on the 21st, last Sunday, I didn't do a roundup. First time ever, but things got a little in the way. Anyway, so this week we have the 22nd. It was a little ditty about ALJ hearings and ALJs. And it seems like wherever you go on the internet and maybe elsewhere, you're always hearing these big headlines of a bad ALJ decision and they're all just terrible and all that kind of business. And here's my perspective on it from experience, actual experience with like thousands of claimants. So I give a little bit of a reality check there. If anyone wants to see it, that was December 22nd. So that must have been Monday. On Tuesday, we had the 9 out of 10 parts to the mental health claims function report series, helping people navigate the function report when it comes to a mental health claim versus the physical, which tends to be the interpretation of the questions is that it seems to be more physical. However, it's not necessarily so. And we give you some pointers on that. The following day, which was December 24th, Wednesday, Christmas Eve, I shared a little news item that the SSA had put out a few weeks prior, and it was about updating us the progress and improvements in customer matters handling, particularly the speed at which things are getting handled and the wait times. SSA has been under the gun for a number of years now for having very, very bad customer service, and maybe had to do with the hiring freeze of 3 years ago or whenever it was. Then, of course, new administration, they tried to revamp the whole thing, which, of course, one would expect to have a few growing pains with some changes. But it's actually turned out to be an improvement already. Improvement from bare bottom, though. You almost couldn't go any lower than we were. So a 25%, give or take, improvement on what it was in 2024 and the years prior. As I always say, I'll take the improvement, but keep it coming because we are coming from a really bad spot. So 25% improvement on something horrible is still horrible. The following day, so that was Wednesday, and we did have our live stream. It was short and sweet, under an hour, which is kind of what I expected. Thursday, the replay came out of that live stream, so you have all the little lag time omitted from the replay for those that want a little quicker version of that. Friday was, of course, Friday Law. Friday fraud law review. My God, tongue twister. I think I need more coffee. And it was about a Massachusetts man who had threatened terror and rather murderous to an SSA OIG in order to get money benefits. I don't know why he thought that would work, but it was kind of an interesting case. That came out on Friday, the 20th. And then yesterday, also on Friday, it's a members only full version of a 3-part series coming out on the channel on the day-to-days. So everyone else is going to get it, just not in the manner that the members only received it. And it has to do with the strategy benefits of a composite job. If you have a composite job, and I bet you almost, I don't know if I could say most people do, but it's something that is very overlooked, and it can definitely help you win step 4. For some of you, you still have to win step 5, but so it's an explanation of that. And because it was lengthier than what my typical 10 minutes would prefer, it's broken up into 3, but this is the full version so that the members can just bang through it if they want, if it's a kind of topic that they're interested in. The following day, which was the 27th, Saturday, this was the part 10 of 10 of the function report tips for mental health impairments. So that was the last of those. And I think what I'm probably going to do is put out, since they're out there in short pieces for people that really don't feel like sitting through a long thing, and it keeps them a little more on track, I will put out the whole thing for those that want to just see the whole thing flat out. That is not a problem. I just haven't gotten to it. All right. So that is it, guys. That was the week. I hope you all had a great Christmas. I had a nice one. It was calm. I got my beloved father-in-law to visit up here, so that was great. And I think he's going home today. But anywho, I hope you all had a good one and a safe one. And I hope to see you next week. I will be at a Harrisburg again. And I will be doing the live stream Wednesday at 1 p.m. I might even start like 15 minutes early, possibly. So if you feel like popping in early, you might get some one-on-one time. Anywho, that's because then I have to leave there and go back to, it's like a 2.5-hour drive back to the northeast Pennsylvania. Anywho, just wanted to share that little bit with you. And have a great week, guys. I will talk to you later. Don't work so hard. It's still Sunday. Did you miss last week's Social Security roundup? Not this week that you just heard, but the one prior to that, and want to catch up? I'm attaching it now. Have a great day. Bye. Good morning and happy Sunday. This is the Sunday Social Security Roundup, and this will be for this past week, which is, my goodness, December 8th until, I believe, December 13th. So this is what we had last week. If you missed anything, feel free to jump in there and look at it based on the date that I say it came on, and then you'll just find it. That way you don't have to listen to all of them. Just pick the ones you may be interested in. All right, so let's get to it. On the 8th, we had the 5th segment of the series for mental health claimants that has to do with doing the function report from a mental health claimant point of view. And that's the 5th one out of 10. So they are called something along the lines of, it'll say like tip number, tip, and then number whatever of the series. So this one would be number 5, series continued, function report for mental health claim, part 5 of 10. So all of them are called the same thing, just with the differing number, if that makes it any easier to locate, if that's what you wanted to do. On Tuesday, we had a little ditty about, it was a particular claimant who was discussing some real post-hearing questions he or she had about some of the vocational expert goings on at the hearing, and just some confusion about, questions about it. And we kind of got into that a little bit. Whoops. And that was the 9th. We had accidentally another one on the 9th. Supposed to only do one a day. This one was a ditty about medications and their very important role in your claim. So you're never going to want to not pay attention to medications at all in your case. You want to actually use them rather astutely in your case. On the 10th, this was the series section number 6 of the function report for the mental health claim individual. That was the 10th. So that would be what? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That was Thursday. We did have our, also, by the way, on Wednesday, we had the 1:00 p.m. live stream on all things Social Security. It was a little comical because I got a new computer system. I have my old, I have my new. I kind of have I look like a scientist workshop in here. And I couldn't get the sound on. We went out about it for like 20 minutes. And then I kind of got my headphones, and then somehow it hooked up. I don't know why. I don't know if there's something you have to do. I'm so non-techie. But anyway, we got it figured out. And on the replay that came out on Thursday, which is on the 9th we had 2. Sorry. And then Thursday would be the 10th, right? Wait, Monday, Tuesday. No, that was Wednesday. Okay. Tuesday we had the double that I mentioned. Then we had the 10th that would be Wednesday. That's when number 6 of the series came out for the function report for the mental health. The was the replay of the live stream. Cut out, I believe cut out is all the BS about, can you hear me? Can you hear me? And me trying to figure it out. And I took a little sabbatical to try to figure it out too and said, we'll come back in 15 minutes. I don't think it took 15 minutes at that point, but it was frustrating to say the least. But anyway, that's all been carved out. And then we went on for another like 2.5 hours. It was a really long Q&A. Some people popped in late in the end, and I, against my my directions from my people, took the questions anyway because I can't help myself. So anyway, it was always fun as always. Great crowd. I love you guys. Friday was the Friday Fraud Law Review. This one was terrible. This is about a Missouri man who tortured, I call it tortured, kept him in a room, didn't properly feed him, hygiene him, whatever, his disabled veteran uncle, and took his benefits, 1.6 million apparently. And of course, when the uncle passed away, did he report it? Did he do anything proper with the body? Listen and find out. Of course, it's coming from the OIG, these fraud law reviews, and they don't give a lot of details. I can't imagine that wouldn't be in a regular paper though, someplace. I mean, it's horrible. It's just so inhumane. And I'm curious to see what the skank who did it, what kind of sentence he will get. And if it's bad enough that you stole the money, you also abused, neglected this person under your care. I don't think you should be seeing the day of light. Personally, I think you should probably get the death penalty, but I know some people are against the death penalty, just not me. Okay. The 13th, which was yesterday, this was a share about Medicare. It was a Q&A and discussion of when you're able to get it once you win your SSD case, not SSI. Alrighty, that's what we have for the week, guys. It was a busy week. We're in December 2025, so we're heading towards Christmas. It is Sunday the 14th. In a little bit, I am Mrs. Santa Claus, along with my husband, who is Santa. And at least my daughter is coming as a helper to Santa, but we volunteer at our local American Legion every year. My husband is a Santa. It's been, I don't know, 12, 13 years now. Prior to that, they had to pay somebody. So obviously we don't do that. And it's just always a nice time. All the little kiddos, all the little veterans and grandparents and their grandchildren, and everybody gets a gift. And my kids used to be the little kids there partaking, and they never knew that their dad was the Santa, that they were sitting on his lap. So since you can only partake at 10 and under, when they hit the age where they couldn't, my daughter was first. We had to break it to her that Dad's Santa's helper himself, because Santa can't be everywhere. And he actually needs a helper. So then she became Santa's helper, helping give out the presents and all that, helping get the kids up to Santa's lap and all that business. And then we had to break it to my son a few years after that. He might have been a little resentful that we were honest with him. I don't know. But since then, the four of us, including a friend, if one of the kids had a good friend that wanted to partake, could partake too as a Santa's helper. And we've been doing it that way ever since. This year, I think I'm kind of upset about it. My son has to work. He does retail of food. So you can't really take off. And as my husband said in a text last night, you can't afford not to have your job. So you're excused if you have to be, basically. And I guess I kind of agree with that too. Why rock the boat on the job? So anywho, I hope you guys have a great week. I hope you're having a great weekend, and I hope the rest of your Sunday is fabulous. I believe mine will be just as fabulous as well. And I hope to see you next week. Feel free to post any questions you might want a video on under any video you see on the daily, the daily videos. Any which way like that is most appropriate. And I will definitely see if I can do it. All right. Have a good one, guys. Thanks again.